Hello, everybody. I'm Melissa, and welcome back to Book Bar, and welcome to my May mid-month wrap-up. May started off really strong. I was reading about a book a day, and then things got busy and crazy, and the Eras 2.0 tour started, and I fell down a massive TikTok binge. I have just been TikToking for nonstop. But I am getting back into the reading thing, and it's just been difficult balancing my new life with reading, and how physically and mentally exhausting my new job is, that I just want to come home and mindlessly scroll through TikTok, which is what I have been doing. So yeah. So I have read, but I have finished 7 books, which is not terrible, all things considered. I'm giving myself grace. I am still on track to meet my Goodreads goal. Just not the stretch goal that I had, but it's fine. That's reading 1 book is good. I've read 7 already this month, so that's great. I just have not been I haven't been doing the things that in the book community that I love, and I feel like I need to get back into that because I do enjoy the book community, and I feel like I've been away from that, and I need to get back into it. I need to go back onto my Discords and talking in the Patreons that I'm in, and posting more on YouTube. I feel like I get to a spot where I'm consistent, and then I fall off for a week, and then I'm consistent, and then I fall off for a week, and I just need to plan my life out better, plan my days out better, plan my schedule out better, and actually follow through with it. So yeah, all that to say, I have read 7 books so far this month. I have had 0 DNFs. All the books have been pretty good. So we're just going to go ahead and get on into it, starting with the first book that I finished, and that was One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This is a gothic fantasy romance that follows a girl named Elspeth, who is, she has a illness basically that she's not supposed to have. People that have this illness get taken out in her world, and she has it and has been hiding that she has it. And yeah, she has this creature in her mind called Nightmare. And it was wonderful. It is Reluctant Allies. I read it for reading fantasy romances vlog. It's linked above. I had a really good time with this. I gave it 5 stars. Yeah, Reluctant Allies to Lovers. I love Reluctant Allies. I think I like Reluctant Allies more than Enemies to Lovers, just because sometimes with Enemies to Lovers, a book I'm talking about in a couple books, there's just, the hero is just too mean, whereas when they were Reluctant Allies, they have to work together, but they don't necessarily, it's not, and they don't necessarily like each other, but they gotta work together. So yeah, I give this 5 stars. Then I read The Arc for Fragile Sanctuary by Cowles, which this book will have come out. This video comes out on Friday. This book will have come out yesterday. This is phenomenal. Go pick it up. It is so good. Probably the best Cowles book to date, which, I mean, I feel her books have just been getting better and better. Her series have just been getting better and better. I haven't read her first 2 series. I have not read those, I will say. I need to go back and read them because I have heard good things, but I am nervous. And then the Tattered and Torn series, I only 1 book was 5 stars in that series for me. I really enjoyed a lot of them, and they were 4.5 stars, but only 1 was a favorite. There was 1 that stood above the rest. And then in the Lost and Found series, there was probably 2 5 stars, and then 4, and then 2 4.5s, and then a 4. So even got better as my average rating for the series was higher. And then this series has already started off with 5 stars. So good. But this follows Anson and Rhodes, and we met Anson if you read the Lost and Found series, which you do not have to. Not reading it does not make you not know anything. You just have met the hero in that in the final book, and he mentions Lawson, who is the hero in the final book of the Lost and Found series, but he doesn't talk about him in depth. It just says his name 1 time. And so this follows Anson and Rhodes, and Anson is living in this town in Oregon working for his best friend, like doing construction and like fire damage repairs. And he is asked to help work on his best friend's sister's house. He does not know that it's his best friend's sister's house, but it is. It's Rhodes. And it's not really his best friend's sister. I mean, she is, but she's his adopted sister because Rhodes had something tragic happen to her when she was in middle school, high school, like early teens. And something tragic happened to her family. And she went and lived with her best friend and her best friend's whole little Mod Podge of a family that has been adopted into this family. And so now she is ready to like go back to this house and get the memory, because only like a very small portion of the house was damaged, and she's ready to go back and like get, relive this and like go back to the happy memories she has with her family that tragic things happened to. And yeah, it was phenomenal. 5 stars. I did not even closely consider who the bad guy was. Normally I'm like, it could be this person. It could, like, I was like fully like, it's this person, it's this person, it's this person. And no, it was this guy, this person that just like came out of nowhere. Like, I mean, didn't come out of nowhere, had been in the book, but so good. So good. 5 stars. Go pick it up. Go read it. You will not regret it. Then I finished another arc, which was Meant for Her by Natasha Madison. I think it was in early April. The author reached out to me and was like, hey, I noticed you like sports romances and I write this hockey romance series. And I had actually, like, years ago, before I was on YouTube, before I was on Bookstagram, like before I even like got into like the book internet space, I read Natasha Madison's Something So series, and it was like a popcorn reads, like read them, like I was reading them on my phone, like on Apple Books, like reading them. Like the first one was like free on like a BookBub or something, so I had it. Like this was before I even knew what Kindle Unlimited was. Like, yeah. So I read like, and like I actually like bought the other books in the series because I really liked the first one. And this was before like star ratings and anything, and like I couldn't tell you anything about the series other than like I enjoyed it. It was a great, like I was reading, I remember reading it while taking a bath. Yeah. So this is kind of a spin-off of the spin-off series, like following the kids from the Something So series. It follows like their kids, which I did read like the first couple books in that series, the This Is series, but then like the next book wasn't coming out, and then I like lost my reading mojo for a couple years, and so I just never got picked that back up. Well, this is like a spin-off of that series. But yeah, so this follows Christopher and Dakota, and in the beginning, Dakota has a husband who she is not so happily married to. She was happy until her husband decided that his vices were going to be more important to him than his family. And then, something tragic happens. And Dakota kind of pushes Christopher away because she's like, you guys had to know. Like, you were his teammates. You were his hockey team. Like, you had to know what was going on. And you guys just let it be. You let it slide. And what happened, like, my kids could have come in on that and, like, found that. And he wasn't a good guy. He was cheating on her, doing all these things. And, Christopher's like, whoa, and like takes a step back, and then like he realizes like I want to be there for her, like she needs someone, these girls need someone. And like they had like still gone to like family day stuff because they were still, tragically her husband was no longer part of the team, and because he had passed away, and which that happens in the prologue, so it's not like a spoiler or anything, and it's also in the summary. So her husband had passed away, but like the team was like, you guys are still part of the team, come to stuff, bring the girls. And so she like takes the girls, and he's like, someone needs to be there for them, like someone needs to teach these girls and like be like a father figure to them. And so he kind of like just keeps showing up, and it just keeps showing up, and of course like things are gonna happen, and it was really cute. I gave it 4.5 stars. There were a few things I would have changed, some of the like over dramaticness of it all, and like just, I felt like the amount of trauma that they put onto Dakota, like from her deceased husband, was kind of like, we didn't need all of that. So yeah, it was a little like much, but I still really enjoyed it and gave it 4.5 stars. Then earlier, you know how when I was talking about One Dark Window, I said sometimes I don't love enemies to lovers because the hero can just be too mean. And how does it feel? 100% encapsulates that. This is an enemies to lovers fae romance where the heroine Callie ends up going into the Unseelie court, and she is believed to be there to kill the king or the prince. And she's like, no, I'm just this regular girl, blah, 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 blah. And the prince becomes like obsessed with her, and he's really mean to her. Like, he locks her in a dungeon and like calls her ugly and says her hair, she's ugly because her hair is red. Her hair's blonde. It's red because she has blood all over her, which redheads are not ugly. Like, just, it was just over the top and like a little too aggressive. But the end was very interesting, and I'm like, now I need to know what happens because of that cliffhanger. So yeah, 3 stars. I also read this for my fantasy romance vlog. The writing is terrible. Like, do not go into this thinking you're gonna get the next great fantasy romance, because it's not. It is not good. But if you, I mean, it's fast. It's fast paced. It's a quick read. Like, I read this in this was kind of like at the beginning of like me not wanting to pick, like me wanting to just scroll on TikTok and like, but I was like, no, I need to force myself. And it would take me like 20 minutes to get through 45 pages. Like, I would just, because it's so fast. Like, it's just, you know, it's not something that like, it's not one of those books where you're like, okay, I feel like I missed something if I like skip a couple lines. Like, you don't need to read every single word in this book to know what is going on. So yeah, 3 stars for that. Then I finished Always Been You by Q.B. Tyler. This is the dark and quirky booktube box edition. I need to find the like overlay for it. It's in one of the other books. This is a taboo romance following James and Gabrielle. And they are not just step-siblings, they are adopted siblings who were raised together, which is something that is mentioned so many times throughout this book. Like I don't love step-sibling as it is. Like, it's probably like low on my like trope chart. Like, it's not one that I pick up very often, if ever. Like, I do sometimes when it's in a series, like, you just gotta. I actually think, going back to Fragile Sanctuary, I actually think that Cowles will be writing like an adopted siblings book, but they were older when, I think, like, it sounds like the heroine was like probably like 16. Hero was like 17 when he came into the house, maybe 15, 16. Miss Gabrielle was 2 when James's family adopted her. So she literally like grew up with them, was raised by them. They grew up in the same house. And like, the amount of times it's mentioned that he's banging his little sister was just like, it took it a little too far. But take that out, which I did not love. But you put in the Q.B. Tyler spice, which was Chef's Kiss. The writing was phenomenal, and I really enjoyed Gabrielle. I just felt like James was a little much, and like the amount of times he talked about banging his sister and like calling her his sister while they, like, it just was a little much. But I still gave it 4 stars. Like, it's still a good book, and I will definitely be keeping this because it is special edition. It is gorgeous, stunning, just not a favorite. And like, not something I think I'll ever like actively recommend. But I did have a good time with it, and she is stunning. Next up, I finished What We Broke by Marley Valentine. This was a 12 books from 12 friends challenge book that Christy from Christy Reads a Lot suggested that I read. And this is a male-male romance following Leo and Jesse. It is a marriage in crisis. At the beginning, you are basically put into the worst day of their lives. And then like it skips ahead 6 months, a year or something. It's a year. And where they're at in their relationship, they can't be in the same room. Leo has completely self-destructed and like removed himself, and Jesse's like fighting and trying and like doing all this. And then it flashes back to like when they first met, and then like as they were starting to like date and meet the families and everything. And yeah, it's a beautiful found family. And like I said, Marriage in Trouble deals heavily with grief, so please check the content warnings. But yeah, I give this 4 stars, I think 4.5. Just some of it was a little too much for me at times. Like, there's a lot of things that, like, it had, so I am very against drinking and driving, and it had a plot point with that, and it really, I'm not one who, like, I don't have a lot of trigger warnings, like, triggers. I don't have things that, like, make me, like, not want to read a book because of that. Like, I don't get flashbacks, but if it was ever anything, it's drinking and driving, and this has that, and it just, like, it was a little hard for me, and I wish I would have known going into it. But yeah, 4.5 stars. Still very good. Still would recommend it. Just not my favorite marriage and trouble romance either. So, but I will definitely read more from this author. So yeah. Then I read the last book that I finished this month was Wild Pitch by Giraldo. This has been on my TBR for so long, ever since like early last year. Robin at Paperbacks and Planners talked about it. It is they are both bisexual characters, the hero and the heroine, and they are both baseball players in the major leagues. Both Sierra, who is a female, and Mateo, who is a male, are in Major League Baseball. And Sierra is a pitcher who was on this team, and she was not doing well, was not set up for success, and believed she was only on the team for like PR, publicity type stuff. Then she gets traded to Mateo's team, and Mateo is the catcher, and he is the grumpy, gruff old man who has been in the league forever, wants to win a ring as a catcher, doesn't want to move to first base, but his joints, his knees, his back, like everything has basically deteriorated because catching is very hard on the body. Like the position that you're sitting in, I caught for one season when I played softball years and years ago, and my knees are still messed up from that one season when I was like 11. So yeah. Imagine doing that your entire life into your 30s. I cannot be like, just, so he has a lot of problems, and he is like, you know what, rookie, like, trust me, like, shut out all the noise, shut out everyone else, you and me, it's you and me, we're playing catch. And it really turns her game around. And they also discover that their kinks may align, and they're not what you think. She is actually the dominant, and he is all too willing to be the submissive and be told, you are a good boy. It is so good. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars just because I felt like her reaction to the third act conflict was over the top and ridiculous. Like, you could have picked up the phone and called him, and you didn't. You jumped to conclusions, and yeah, it was a little too much. Also, I have never been, like, there was just some things about the baseball that I was like, no, that would never happen. Not even possible. Like, yeah, just, it would not work that way. So yeah, that kind of bugged me a lot. Also, like, was she a starting pitcher? Was she a relief pitcher? Like, she did play both roles, but usually you don't. Like, if you're a starting pitcher and you pitch the whole game, that's one thing, but like, it's not like some games she was a starting pitcher, other games she was a relief pitcher. I don't know. I was unclear on that. So, like, just things like that I was like, a little weird. A little not, like, my thing with sports romances is if you are going to write a sports romance, please do your research, because I will, like, for me, I will rate I will knock you down a star if your information is inaccurate and it's multiple inaccuracies, because as a, like, scholar of the game, I'm not clearly, but I went to school for sports journalism. And so I have watched, like, I grew up around sports. I have watched sports my entire life. And, like, there were so many inaccuracies that I was just like, it took me out of the story, because I was like, that would never happen. Like, that's just not possible. This is not how the majors work. And I know, obviously, it's not real. It was fictionalized. But the way that it was like a team in LA and there was a team in San Francisco and 2 teams in Texas, like very much like how and it was basically the major leagues. And so if you're going to write a baseball romance about the major leagues, make it accurate information, please. That's all I gotta say. That is my rant. But yeah, that is all I have for now. If you made it to the end of this video, which I know this was very ranty and very chatty. I talked about 7 books and I talked about them for 25 minutes. So I don't know how that happened, but I did. So if you made it to the end of this video, leave me the like talking emoji. Like there's like a guy, like a person with like waves, like sound waves coming out of their mouth. Yeah, I'm pretty sure use that one because that was me this video. Just chatting away. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff. It really helps me out. And I'll talk to you all in the next one. Bye.